So we're going to review our grammar for the week. And this week we're talking about present and past tense verbs. Verbs in the present tense have an S ending with a singular subject or do not have an S ending with a plural subject. Present tense means it's happening now. Most verbs that are in the past tense, meaning it happened already in the past, they have an ED ending to show an action or state of being in the past. So take a look on this one. It says the rocket blasts off. Blast is in present tense. It's happening right now. The rocket is blasting off right now. And the subject is singular, so there's an S on the end of blast. The rocket blast off doesn't make sense, but the rocket blasts off is correct. Now, if I said the rockets blast off, you can see that blast is in present tense. It's happening right now, but there's more than one rocket. It may be 2 or 3 rockets, and they're all blasting off. So because the noun rockets is plural, we don't add an S to the word blast. And finally, in the third example, the rockets blasted off yesterday. That means whether I have 1 or 5 rockets, if it all happened yesterday, then the word blast is in past tense, and I have to add that ED ending, and it says they blasted off yesterday. So let's take a look at the next page. Here are some examples. We see Mr. E shops for vegetables. Mr. E is the subject of what we're talking about, and he's a singular. He's one person. So because he's singular, we have to put an S on the end of shop. Mr. E shop for vegetables doesn't make sense, but Mr. E shops for vegetables is correct. In the second example, they shopped for more vegetables. They is more than one person. The subject is more than one. It's plural. And so they did this yesterday, so we see that we have an ED ending on the end of shop. So they shopped for more vegetables because they did it yesterday or last week. And in the third example, we have a singular subject of mom, and she's going to do it in the future. So we're going to say mom will shop for vegetables. And we had to add that word will to show that she's going to do that in the future. So whether or not something happens in the present, the past, or the future helps us determine what our verb is going to look like. Well, it looks like shop, shops, shopped, or will shop. Here are some more examples. The Washington Monument was finished in 1884. That's past tense, finished. On the Capitol Dome stands the Statue of Liberty. It's standing there today, so that's present tense. And the Capitol Dome, there's only one dome. So because it's singular and it's happening in present tense, we had to add the S to stand, so it becomes stands. In the third example, this bronze figure of a woman wears a helmet. And it's just one figure, so again, it's singular, so that's why we need wears with an S on the end. Here are some for you to practice. Go ahead and pause your video and see if you can identify if the green verb in each sentence is present or past tense. Pause your video now and think about each one. In just a second, I'll give you the correct answers. Welcome back. So here's the answers. If we're thinking of identify if the green verb is present or past tense. In sentence number 1, Jack and Sarah drew pictures. That's happening now, so that is present. Number 2, they color with crayons and colored pencils. They are coloring right now, so that is present tense. Number 3, they eat lunch together while they're working. They're eating lunch right now together, so that is present tense. Number 4, Jack gave Beth a box of crayons to color with. Now Jack gave those to Beth in the past, so this is past tense. Number 5, Sarah walked back to her house for dinner. You see the ED, so that's a little bit of a clue that this is past tense. Sarah walked maybe yesterday or earlier in the evening so that she could have dinner. And number 6, Jack and Beth eat dinner with their parents. Well, they're currently eating, so that's present tense. Eat is present tense. Now we're going to talk about past, present, past, and future tense. Many verbs in the present tense with singular subjects use an S ending. Verbs in the present tense with plural subjects do not use an ending, and many verbs in the past tense use an ed ending. Verbs in the future tense use the helping verb will because it's going to happen in the future. So let's look at these examples. The girl plays at the playground. One girl, she's singular, only one. And so we add an S to the word play, and that's present tense. She's right now playing at the playground. The girl plays at the playground. In the second example, there's more than one girl. We have a plural subject, the girls, more than one. And because we have a plural subject, we do not add an S to play, even though it's present tense. The girls play at the playground. In the third example, the girl played at the playground yesterday. Because we're talking about yesterday, this is past tense, so we had to add an ed. And finally, we're talking in the last example about the girl wanting to play tomorrow at the playground. So since that's future tense, we're going to add the word will. The girl will play at the playground tomorrow. Here's some more examples. Practice on your own, pause the video, and tell whether each verb is present, past, or future tense. I'll give you the examples in just a second. Go ahead and pause your video and try. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the answers. Number 1, my friends and I walked to the zoo. We did that in the past, and I know that because there's an ed on the action word, which is walk. So since we walked with an ed, I know it's past. Number 2, we will look for the elephants and giraffes. Oh, I see the word will. So because we will look, I know that's going to happen in the future. That's future tense. Number 3, we talked to the zookeeper to find out where the elephants are. We're doing that right now. We're talking to the zookeeper. So that's present tense. Number 4, we ran over to the elephant area to see the elephants eat. We did that in the past. So maybe we did it earlier, or maybe we did it yesterday, but that's past tense. Number 5, we arrived too late. Now again, I see an ed on this, so that's telling me it's past tense. And number 6, the elephants will eat again in an hour. That's what they're going to do in the future. They're going to eat again. And I see that word will, so I know this one is future tense. So you can identify present, past, and future tense by looking at the verbs. The verb that explains an action that's already happened shows past tense. We add ed to most verbs to show past tense. There are some that we don't add ed to, like eat or ate, and those are called irregular verbs. A verb that tells about an action happening right now shows present tense. We add an S to the verb when the noun and the subject of a sentence is singular. We do not add S to the verb when the subject is I, you, or plural. So we've already talked about how we don't add an S if it's plural, but now we're also saying we do not add an S if the subject is I or you. Down at the bottom, we see John cleaned his bedroom last weekend. That's past tense, so we do use the ed ending. But we see John cleans the kitchen after breakfast. He's singular, he's one person, so we're going to add an S to the end of clean. John cleans. And in the future, we see that John will clean his bedroom next week too. And we see that word will. So that's just a little bit of review of past, present, and future tense.